Today we're going to be talking about drugs. Drugs are a big part of the youth's lives. We're going to have a live chat with Matt. He's going to be answering some of your questions and giving his opinion on drugs. Firstly, I would like to thank Matt for calling into the show.
No worries, Peter. It's all my pleasure. So, where would you like to start?
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. While you are responding to the question, the public are welcome to send in their own questions. The first question is, what do you think the reason behind social negativity behind drugs is?
Well, actually, Peter, I have two answers to that question. Firstly, I think that drugs are actually very, how do you say? They're very socially accepted in different groups of people. So, they use them in their leisure. For different reasons. So, I don't know, they just use them for their own reasons. But I think that the social negativity comes from the image of people who are on the streets and have no job and they're just there and they're just always high and always just give a bad look to drugs in general. And I just think that's why they're looked down upon. They do help people, but obviously there's always that bad case that people just use it for stupid reasons.
Okay, thanks for that. That was a really good response. We have Charles, age 16, email us, and this is what he said. I think that if you're on private property and your parents know what you're doing, you should be allowed to take drugs. Do you agree with this statement?
I think that doing this should be fine if you're on your own land. But if you're under the age, you should always get consent. But the only thing with teens is that they don't ask their parents for consent, which is not a good thing because their parents don't know what they're doing, for one. And the reason they don't get consent is because the teens don't want their parents to know what they're actually doing. So it's kind of a weird subject to I don't know, it's kind of hard to answer, but personally I think it should be okay.
Okay, thank you Charles for that question. We have another question from Jess, age 19. She texted into the show and asked, what would you do if a stranger offered you drugs?
Honestly, if a stranger were to offer me drugs, I think I'd probably have to deny them. Because for one, you don't know how pure they are or if they've been tampered with, so you could be in a chance of maybe overdosing on a drug which you don't have any knowledge about. And that's definitely not a good thing.
So Matt, are you saying that you should be able to take drugs but make sure they're safe first?
I'm not saying that, it's just the fact that it's your choice at the end of the day, so I can't change that. You are your own person, they are their own people. I'm just trying to warn you of the dangers of taking drugs from random people.
Okay Matt, I have one final question for you before we leave our call. What's your overall opinion on drugs?
My opinion with drugs is that there's always benefits and negatives to them. For instance, marijuana. 10 years ago, it was pretty much legal all around the world. But now we've put research into it and found out that it does have medicinal purposes and that it can benefit people. Honestly, I think that's amazing, to be honest. I don't know, I feel like if you research into something, there's always going to be benefits and negatives. You just have to weigh up. I don't know. I think it's good though for marijuana because it does have medicinal purposes and it can be good for people who are going through tough times. And that's why I think places around the world have legalized it, like Canada, California, and even in the UK now it's been legalized for medicinal purposes.
Thanks Matt for joining us on today's show. We appreciate your question answering and your opinions.
No worries, Peter. I'd just like to say thank you for inviting me here, and I've loved giving my opinion. Maybe you can invite me back sometime. But anyway, see ya.
I would also like to thank the public for sending in their questions. As a side note, if you've ever been or know anyone that's been a victim of drug abuse, please feel free to call the number below to get help and support. Now we'll hand you over to Grace and Alexis talking about celebrities.